Hello, another little video tonight. Firstly, I want to thank a guy called Chris for his t-shirt he sent me from his rock bar Cherry Bomb, little bar in Osaka, Japan, which I had the honour of visiting when I was over in Osaka in September, enjoying the sights of Japan for the very first time. A very short trip, but packed a lot in, and obviously I saw Iron Maiden in concert in the middle of it. Yeah, and he just sent me this T-shirt over here. I think I sent him an Iron Maiden T-shirt, tour T-shirt, to him, so he's returned the favour. A really cool T-shirt. Thank you, Chris. If you're listening, which probably not. Anyway, tonight I thought I'd go do a thing. Remember, a couple of weeks ago I did a ranking of the Iron Maiden albums, and I did it in different eras. I did the classic era, I did the '90s era, and I did the reunion era. Tonight I'm going to do something about from the '90s. It's called What the Blaze Is, and it's about Blaze Bayley's contribution to Iron Maiden on his two albums he did, The X Factor and Virtual Eleven. In 1993, Bruce had left, and Blaze had left Wolfbane and joined Iron Maiden in around '94. I think there was a incident with a traffic incident which injured him for a while, but he managed to record his first album and release it in 1995 with Iron Maiden, The X Factor. Right here. There you go with the, like I said before, lobotomized electric chaired Eddie. Yeah, and so I'm going to talk about this album in a bit more detail and why it's one of my favourite albums of the 90s. At number one, in fact, beating Fear the Dark, Virtual Eleven, and No Prayer for the Dying. So we're going to start off with the first song is A Sign of the Cross, which is this haunting, obviously eerie, with chanting, monks chanting in the background song about, I guess, kind of like the whole cloistered monastery type thing. I think it's inspired by the book and the film, perhaps, Name of the Rose. It's a fantastic haunting medley. It's brooding. It's slow to start, but it matches the mood of this album, which is kind of the most darkest album they've done for a while. They did for a while. Yeah, and it's a really great. It matches the tone that's to follow for the rest of the songs on this album, written by, I believe, Steve Harris, and it's a fantastic brooding song. I guess kind of sometimes reflecting Steve Harris's mind at the time. A lot of tough things happened during this period. From '93 onwards, Bruce left, Adrian left a couple of years earlier. Steve Harris, I believe, had family problems. He got a divorce. So there's a lot of stuff in this album which kind of reflects that. And that's the opener, Sign of the Cross. And it's followed up by Lord of the Flies, another good song, strong song. So that's a strong song. That's better. So that's a strong song. And so here we go. That's a good one. And that's Lord of the Flies, probably based on the book by William Golden about schoolboys stranded on an island, posh schoolboys from public school who revert to absolute savagery. It starts off as almost like a dictatorship. The richer, the posher ones, the ones who feel they're naturally leaders, sort of thing, who get in charge. How's that like reflecting life? It's basically House of Commons is like Lord of the Flies, basically, and it reflects where they are, and then they revert to savagery, but ends up in the murder of one of the boys. Yeah. Also, Lord of the Flies, I believe it's one of the names for the devil. I'm not sure. It's more based on the Lord of the Flies and that idea. Anyway, that's a really strong song, which has been obviously Bruce has sang himself. And what I like about Iron Maiden is that each singer manages to put their own style and class on other singers' songs. You know, Bruce with Paul Di'Anno's songs, Blaze with some of Bruce's songs, sort of thing. Sometimes I think the tone of the music and the speed should have been matched to Blaze more than Bruce's. But they do manage to, make the songs their own in a way, each singer. Anyway, Then we got the banger, which introduced the world to Blaze Bayley, "Man on the Edge," which is a fast-paced song about kind of based on the Falling Down film with Michael Douglas. It's about someone who's like had enough. He's always got issues and problems, that sort of thing, and he kind of like goes a bit mental. It's the little man who goes mental, basically, and sometimes it's like it reflects society as well. Sometimes little man for no reason will go mental, and it's not an excuse, but it's just things that happen. So that one's on there. Then The Fortunes of War, which is another great song, and also it's the theme of like warfare and soldiers and what happens to soldiers. It's about like how it affects their mind and body, war, I guess, and it's a good reflection of that. Then it's followed by what I feel is perhaps not the strongest song on the album. Look for the truth. But it's still good. It's still a good song, written by Blaze, Janik, and Steve. So I think it's still a good song, but not the strongest one on the album. Not my personal favourite. But we carry on. The Aftermath. Again, another song about soldiers and the effects of war, and questioning about why they fight sometimes. Maybe it's a questioning about why they fight. Then we got Judgment of Heaven, which is a kind of like, it's about a questioning song. It's a reflective song. So this album's very reflective, I think. Captures the mood perhaps of some of the writers here, in this case Harris. And it's about questioning your life, questioning your beliefs or your faith. And I kind of relate to it, kind of from personal experience. I've gone through certain things and crisis of faith, that sort of thing, which I've managed to get over. But yeah, and sometimes I haven't managed to get over. They're still like brooding, that sort of thing. So I think there's a really good song about that, and it's also about regret and that sort of thing. I know I kind of navel gaze sometimes, and I regret some decisions in my life, and bemoan the way my life's turned out sometimes, sort of thing. But you can't regret. I'm trying to get over that, and this kind of song helps me really. Blood on the World Hands. Well, if you look at the world, you can see we've got a lot of blood on our hands, and this one was particularly written about Bosnia at the time, and sometimes the world looking on while horrendous things happened over there. So yeah, that's about Bosnia, and also you can reflect it on today's world where the wars we're having and the grey men in suits behind big tables deciding the fate of the innocent of this world. Yeah, Blood on the World Hands, very poignant song, very strong song as well. Right, then we get to another war song, but this based on a film, heavily inspired by Apocalypse Now, the Francis Ford Coppola film with Martin Sheen and Marlon Brando, and yeah, it's some of the lyrics are almost word for word, not quite like bits from the film, scripts from the film, and for my sins they brought me a mission, like brought up like room service. That's directly from the film. It's a very good brooding song. Again, I don't think it's the strongest on the album, but it's really good. It's one of my favourites. But even though it's not technically the strongest on the song, and then we get to 2 a.m. Written by I think Gears, Harris, and Blaze. They all had their hand in writing this, and I think this is one of the songs that come out of that period, especially for Steve Harris when Bruce had left. Adrian left the years before, and so he was feeling a bit creatively off. And also, he went through a divorce from his first wife, and obviously family problems and that sort of stuff. So this kind of reflects it, and it's a very poignant song. I kind of get it, as well. Being a man in my 50s, living on my own, so that's kind of you kind of understand where his mental, that sort of coming home from work, sitting down, and just letting life flow over you, really, the mundane life flow over you. So yeah, this is a very reflective album in a way, and I think it ends with The Unbeliever, which is again an inward-looking song about several things, life and paranoia, perhaps depression, that sort of thing. You know what? This is not a barrel laugh. This album, but it's quite brilliant, and that's why it's at the top of my '90s era Maiden albums. I think it's a strong opener. I think the main criticism of it, I think, is Blaze Bayley has got this real low registered voice, really strong voice, but sometimes I think the mixing of it doesn't do him any favours. I think his voice should have been boosted up a bit, sort of thing, so it reflects his live personality. But that's only a quibble, really. So I think it's a really great album. I believe this is the best album of the '90s, even better than Fear the Dark and No Prayer for the Dying, which is, I guess, I don't know if it's a controversial reason, but I've got reasons I don't rate those albums as high as perhaps this one. Okay, thank you. So next on the list is the second and last Blaze Bayley album he did for Iron Maiden, Virtual 11. Now it starts off out the gate really strong with Future Real, which is a great banger about virtual reality and the blurring of the lines between reality and virtual reality, which was coming up to fore in the late '90s when this album came out. I mean, it's quite prophetic, really, especially the rise of AI, what's real and what's not, But I think, it's really questioning that, and that's really good. Then, my least favourite Maiden song on this album, and my least favourite Maiden song for good, Angel and the Gambler. Now, okay, I could argue about the repetitive lyrics, but it's not the fact that there's repetitive lyrics. There's repetitive lyrics in lots of Iron Maiden songs, but there's not irritating repetitive lyrics like this one, and I won't bore you singing them out for you. A, I can't sing, and B, I don't want to flick that on you anyway. But yeah, the lyrics on here, the main chorus, don't you think I can save you? Do you think I'm a saviour? That sort of thing. It outlives its usefulness, and I don't really like the hook. The keyboards on this, I really don't like. I think they're very irritating as well. Not a fan of this. Not a fan of this at all. That particular song. I think that's the weaker song on this album. Okay, then we got Lightning Strikes Twice. Lightning Strikes Twice is the next song on this album. And it's a good song. It's not my favourite on here. I don't think it's not the strongest song. It's pretty good, But yeah, it like I said, it's not a strong song. I think Angel and Gambler, Lightning Strikes Twice, kind of do a dip. So I don't think that's the strongest song on this album. But then again, the next song, basically, most Maiden fans love is The Klansman, which is written by Harris himself, Steve Harris, the history buff, along with Bruce Dickinson, and he's talking about the William Wallace and the Brave Hearts and the Scottish warriors rebelling against their oppressive English lords. So it's a really strong song. Starts off with guitars, acoustic guitars, builds up, goes into almost like a Celtic dance sort of stuff, or warriors dance, and then it just bursts into to the freedom, all that stuff, and it's really, really a strong song. It's one of those songs which Bruce Dickinson has made his own live. Yeah, I think it's a really good song. Speaking about live songs being coming to life alive, Angel and the Gambler is actually one of them. It's an irritating song on the record, but I've seen concert footage of Blaze Bayley's in 1998. I guess at his last concert in Buenos Aires. Oh, I think it was Buenos Aires. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. No, it might be Brazil. But he was he kind of kicked it was still not a great song, but like I made, even their mediocre songs, they can give it a boost when they play it live, because they they really, really throw themselves at it. So yeah, I guess Angel and the Gambler is okay live. So after The Klansman, which is a real classic, you've got another one which is okay, it's not great, Where Two Worlds Collide, which is kind of based on the 50s science fiction film about a planet heading to collision to Earth or a moon or whatever, and people leaving, building a space ark and being drawing lotteries to join this space ark to fly to this another planet while their own planet is decimated. Yeah, it's a good song. It's not a stronger song on here. Again, it's not a strong song, but yeah, it's really good. I think I liked it. It's really good. Obviously, they're fans of literature. They're fans of science fiction. They're fans of really good literature, and it shows in this song as well. Another Murray, Bailey, and Harris song. Then we got The Educated Fool, another song of self-reflection from Steve Harris. Yeah, desire to take risks. I think the whole song is about reflecting and desiring to take risks and getting out of your comfort zone. That's what I get from it anyway. I don't know if he means it that way, but yeah, that's a really strong song. And follow up with that is Don't Look in the Eyes of a Stranger, another Steve Harris song, which is almost, if you read the lyrics, it's almost like a sequel to Killers. Maybe from another perspective, maybe from the Killers' perspective about walking on your own, don't look in the eyes of a stranger when you're walking down the street. Yeah, it's a very kind of creepy song. And again, very good song from Iron Maiden on this album. And I guess my favourite song on here, just nipping above the Klansman, is Como Estas Amigos? How Are You Friends? Basically, in translated to English, and it's a song about the Falklands War, another war, thing about a more, I guess the last really modern war in terms of like basic soldiery, face to face, hand to hand combat and that sort of stuff we had in this country. With England, the Argentinians invaded the Falklands, or Malvinas as they call them, and we came to take it back. And I guess it's a tribute to both sides in a way. It doesn't say, yeah, let's be friends, let's have peace. It's not have no more tears. And it's a powerful song, I think, and it's one of my favourite songs on this album. So there you go, Blaze Bayley's brief tenure with Maiden. Then we had to wait till 1999, I guess, or late 98, 99, with the return of Bruce Dickinson and Adrian Smith into the family of Iron Maiden. And yeah, so that was another period of history which I've already talked about. Yeah, so I thought I'd go and have a look at Blaze's contribution to the band, and it's an important contribution, and it's a very good one as well, because Steve Harris has said Blaze kept the band going during that period. A lot of people say these albums suck. They don't suck. These are better albums than people give them credit for. Especially this one is a better album as far as I'm concerned than No Prayer for the Dying, but that's another controversial opinion. I just think there's something more serious about this in a way, a bit more experimental. It may not work all the time, the experiments, but I feel rather the band that's brave and experiments than a band that just says, okay, let's go on to the old ways of doing this. Let's go make a song like that. Let's go make Aces High Part 2, as I said before about the Tail Gunner song, which is an okay song, great live, fun live, but it doesn't quite get there. But I like this more than No Prayer for the Dying. And like I said, The X Factor, the best album of the 90s, in my opinion. People have different ones, and that's absolutely fine. So that's it, really. That's what the Blaze is. But the Blaze Bayley contribution, it's gone a bit longer than I thought it would be. Hopefully I'm less rambling. Probably not, because I'm a rambling sort of person. Yeah, so have a good evening. Good night.